I was very fortunate. Actually, it was my favorite part of my job, broadcasting games, was those 15 minutes you get to spend with the coaches pregame. I learned a lot. There's certain coaches that you got really excited to talk to. Mark was one of those guys. Just because I love how he views the game. I love how he views building a culture. It's something that he established early here, prior to them winning basketball games. It's something he said to me last year that really stood out. I asked him about it, and he said if you came in, they won however many games they won last year and top seed, whatever. He said if you came in our practice facility 3 years ago and you came in yesterday, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in terms of the energy, the atmosphere, how we speak to each other, how we work. And that to me is huge in this league, and obviously he's really sharp with tactical strategy and whatnot. And I think the biggest thing, well, not the biggest thing, a bunch of things stand out, but the thing you always talk about as a coach is, can you get buy-in on things? And that team has bought into the possession battle, and it's a big reason why they are who they are. They basically get 4 extra possessions every single game. Because they execute so well at the end of the quarters. They fire at the end of the quarters. They try to create an extra possession that way. And then, they don't turn the ball over, and they turn you over. So, plus they crash. So they do a great job of giving themselves a chance to win every single night, regardless of if Shea's hot or if they're making threes. They just create a massive amount of possessions. And frankly, that's why we lost the first time we played them, because we lost it. We got, destroyed at the end of quarters. No, we know what to be, what to expect in terms of their physicality and their on-ball pressure. We faced that a lot this year from different teams, and Luka obviously has experience playing against these guys and being matched up with Dort. So, and there'll be other guys that guard him, obviously, but we're ready for that. Yeah, I think the two biggest problems to solve are, offensively, it's Shea and Jalen, and not allowing them to live in your paint and create scoring opportunities. Both those guys are just so good at attacking. So we have to be very disciplined, not just with on ball and our shifts, but also with our hands. And then the second thing is, trying to figure out the best way to attack them based on, they play 2 bigs, they play 1 big, they play small. You got to be able to channel change a little bit. Yeah, haven't gone to that extreme. We have call signs for certain things. If there's a questionable out of bounds call that is in our favor, there's a call sign for trying to get the ball out quickly. I know a lot of teams will send a sub. We've done that a couple times, or at least tried to. The consistency of which the referees give you the ball is different night to night, so you can't always control that. But I actually love that strategy from Mark. I thought it was really, really sharp. I think Holmgren, his versatility probably would start with that. Anybody who ever listened to that stupid podcast I did for so long knows that I was a massive fan of Hardenstein, and Holmgren he's a perimeter player. He's an interior force. He can switch. Hardenstein is always just had such a high impact on winning on every team he's been on. I think both those guys on the offensive glass is a concern, whether we play big lineups or whether we go to our laser lineup. So and then again, I started with Shea and Jalen, but you can go down the list and there's a million different problems to solve with this team. Yeah, I mean, we've had to play him at the 5, so it's mainly switchable lineups with that look. And then I think when teams have played coverage, I think he's done an overall pretty nice job just playing in the pocket and either being a playmaker or trying to finish at the rim. But yeah, I mean it's the nature of making that trade. It limited, I think, in some ways, like where we can play him. Foot angles. Same reason Luka can do it. They create foot angles, and then you're dead. Never could have imagined it would go the way it would go, but going into it, I imagined that it could go any way. So expected and unexpected at the same time. Yeah, I would say 3 things. Icy hot, heat packs, and a foam roller. I had no idea who he was. Never heard of him. I think that was my second to last year, maybe it was. I can't quite remember. That COVID stuff kind of runs together, but it was very, very clear, early on, just how sharp he was, and I don't think Sam Presti's made a lot of bad choices in his career as a front office executive. So, when the hire was made, I didn't, as a player, I didn't make much of coaching hires, but, I remember having the immediate thought, this guy must be a stud. That's kind of was my initial thought because Sam generally gets it right. I don't care about awards, but I will say Lou Dort's awesome. He's been awesome. He makes you feel him on every possession, and he's relentless. He's one of those guys. Drew is like this as well. If the game plan is we're going to keep the primary matchup, he keeps the primary matchup, and despite whether it's off ball or 77s, whatever it may be, like those guys have just a unique ability to not lose an advantage and stay in front of their guy. It's just relentless, and I remember the first time I played against Lou Dort. I'd never heard of him. You know, he's coming off the bench for OKC back in, I think it was the 1920 year, and I was like, who is this guy? He plays so hard. He guarded me a little bit. I was like, Jesus, man, this guy's sick.